Something a little bit different today, I suppose, out in the backcountry with my friend Josh, but it is still photography based. Come out for a bit of a split board, but I've also just acquired this Ricoh GR3, so I'm bringing that out today for a bit of a test run, seeing how it fares. And I suppose part of the reason I've got this is to have like a decent camera on me for trips like this when I don't have a lot of space. And I want to kind of start telling stories more with my photography. I take a lot of like vistas and landscapes, but forget to do those smaller details. So hopefully this little camera will mean I'll do a bit more of that. I can get it out and fire up a shot pretty quickly. But we'll put it to the test. It is -25 today. You can probably see from the fact that my moustache and beard is already freezing. But the first thing to go in this GoPro and in this camera is probably going to be the battery, but we'll see how it goes throughout the day. So one good feature I'm finding with this in regards to kind of exposing images is it has a metering mode that actually like prioritizes highlights. So on days like today, when we are getting these really kind of sunny backlit conditions and the shady trees, you can pop it on that and you're pretty much always going to get all the detail and just be able to bring up those shadows later on in post. So it's a quick function you can kind of switch between really easily, all with one hand, and just meter for the mids and meter for the highlights really quickly. So what is the GR3? This GR3 is an APS-C censored camera with a fixed lens in this tiny little body, which is pretty cool. This is the 3, so it's a 28mm equivalent lens, but you also have a couple of crop modes in there where you can shoot with a 35mm or 50mm equivalent. For me, I think that's going to work well, and it's why I chose it. So I can shoot wider and then crop in if I need to. That sensor is also stabilized. It has 3-axis stabilization in the body. You can kind of feel it moving around if you shake it, which you probably shouldn't do. But it's a great little package, and hopefully you're going to get good dynamic range and good depth of field with that larger sensor in a really tiny body. So for this kind of trip, I'm really enjoying the like small form factor of this camera. And to be fair, it's really easy to operate one-handed, even with a glove on. I can just pull it out, turn it on, all the functions are there on my thumb, and it's super easy to get shots. So the idea is I should be able to take more photographs on a trip and in more places, always have this camera with me and just get more content. It's also got a macro mode. So if you switch it into that, you can focus really close. It must be probably 10 centimeters or something or closer. So just trying to get some pictures of some little kind of icicles and snowflakes and stuff. Kind of reached the summit of where we're gonna ride down from, so no more up for a bit, so just gonna change over the boards to ride back down. The snow's actually great today, which is awesome, and I've taken about 275 pictures so far on that camera, so it's doing pretty well. Like the battery has just about died, but it is -25, well maybe -20 about now, but that's probably one of the main concerns people have with the GR3 is that the battery life's not as good. But I mean, 275 pictures in -20 with that kind of small form factor, I don't think you can really complain about. is to ride back down and then try and get a few action snaps with the GR3 on the way back down. But by no means is this camera created to be any kind of action sports camera, to be honest. So it's going to be a bit of a test. And that's not really what I've bought it for, in all honesty. The autofocus is all right. I can kind of select an autofocus point on the screen and it snaps pretty quick, but probably not quick enough for fast moving objects. And then it also has what they call snap focus, where you can set like a predetermined distance of 1.5, 2 meters, 3 meters. And then you press the button down and it will just automatically lock onto that distance and fire a picture. So that might be a good option for people if I can get Josh to ride past me like 5 meters in front and I can just know I'm going to hit him as he comes through. So just made it back out the bottom there. Tried a couple of action shots on the way, but the camera's not really made for that and the autofocus isn't super snappy, so I think I failed a bit miserably there. But this is my first day out with this camera, so maybe with a bit of practice I can kind of nail those as well. So that was a good first day out with the GR3, I think. Still a little bit of getting used to, but I enjoyed playing with like there's a digital crop in there, so you can shoot at 28mm, 35mm or 50mm. I know that would give me the same results as if I was to do that in post, but it's kind of nice to frame it. So I think I got some good shots from the day, but still a bit of a learning curve, but time to head home and see what I've got. It's the next day and I've just finished editing all of those images, some of which you'll have seen in the video already. And I have to say that I am incredibly impressed with this camera. The 28mm lens on this thing is pin sharp. For such a small body and such a small lens, I cannot fault how sharp the images are. Also, the dynamic range that I'm getting from the sensor is pretty incredible. I'm able to pull up shadows or recover those highlights really easily. I'm also really enjoying using this camera. So all of the buttons and all the functionality really is on the right-hand side here. So I can grab all these bits with my thumb, just using it one-handed, and change all the settings really on the fly. The menu system is pretty intuitive, and it's combined with a touchscreen that does make it really quick to change between different settings. The only thing I've changed from the default settings, or the default controls, is just this little button on the end here. The idea of this is to switch it into video mode, but to be honest, I won't be using it for that. So I've set this to change the digital crop mode. So it cycles between the 28mm lens, the 35 and the 50mm crop options as well, which just kind of helps with framing if you do think you're going to crop it later on or want to crop it in camera. So I'm really excited to use this camera more, to be honest with you. It's going to come on running trips with me, it's going to come splitboarding with me, it's probably going to come with me just on everyday life when I don't want to lug around like a big camera. And the quality of the images that it's providing is more than enough, to be honest with you. It competes with my R6 in a lot of circumstances as well. So it's going to open up a whole new world of photography for me. And combining that with my GoPro Hero 10 means I have this really lightweight photography vlogging setup, which I am excited to use in the future. But that's it. Couldn't recommend it enough. Gonna have a lot of fun with this. So that's it for today. Hopefully I'll see you on the next one.